Good morning, guys.
And it really is morning here too. It's very early. Just kidding. I actually think it's 9 something.
Yeah, it's 9. It's just because
It's 10 o'clock. But I have a child who woke up every 2 hours last night, so.
And it's summer, so.
And it's summer.
Yeah.
But good morning to you guys. Are you ready for? Do you know what period this is?
No idea. They don't know yet.
No idea.
Yeah. Anyways,
Happy afternoon.
today we're going to be talking about the U.S. colonies, the 13 original
Ayo.
colonies. Yes. And we'll be talking about the differences in their groupings and all of that. So we ready to get going?
Ready to learn.
Let's learn some knowledge.
Woo!
All right. So to start off, there were 13 original colonies. Okay. There's a reason why the U.S. flag has 13 red and white stripes. It's because each represents one of the 13 original colonies of the United States.
I didn't know that.
You didn't really?
I don't actually think I knew that about the stripes.
Oh, that's bad.
I know.
You
Well, I knew
each
that
star
they
in the
had.
flag.
No, yes, I know that
Okay.
represents the states. So I knew there originally was 13 stars, and they were in a circle
Oh, okay.
for the colonies. So, but I
Yeah,
didn't
but that was
realize that
when
the
they became
stripes
states.
had a.
Yeah, for the 13 original.
Yeah, my
colonies,
bad.
yeah.
That's my B.
These 13 colonies, though,
There was
were
so
raised
much judgment in your
in
voice.
3 different groups or regions. So the first region is called the New England colonies, and these are the ones up north, the highest ones right here in yellow. So the New England colonies, these are New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island.
Aren't they still recognized as the
Yeah, you still
New
call that
England,
area
yeah.
New England, yeah. So the New England colonies are up there. Then the middle colonies, which are in the middle right there, those purple ones, New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey. Not Maryland, sorry. But those were the middle colonies, the ones you see in purple. And the last group of colonies, the third group, are the southern colonies. And those are the green ones down here. And they were obviously in the south, so they're at the bottom. So that's Georgia, South Carolina.
They were the rich
Yeah.
ones.
Well, we'll talk some about that, yeah. So these are the 3 groups of each of the 13 colonies. And today what we're going to be doing, we're looking at each different group and kind of seeing the characteristics of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I can tell you what I know about each. Like
Yeah.
New England colonies, great soup. New England clam chowder.
Oh, okay.
Delicious.
Okay, yeah, but back then I don't know if it was known for that.
Well, it is now.
Okay.
And they have Ben and Jerry's,
Yes.
which is great ice cream. Sorry. Okay, now give me the real facts.
Okay, so New England is up in the north, if you remember the first one we talked about. And people in New England usually lived in small towns or cities, okay? So they did not live in large areas of land. They had small
Like it wasn't
towns.
farms.
It wasn't, no, if there were farms, usually there were small family farms.
Okay.
So they weren't big farms, big plantations or anything. Instead, they usually lived in cities close together. Lots of merchants, shipbuilding, and fishing in this region.
Oh.
So think kind of like seaside towns and cities.
Isn't this where the Quakers lived?
No,
No?
but this is where the Puritans lived, so they were very religious.
Mm.
So when we talked about the Puritans and Plymouth Colony, that's in the New England area.
Okay.
All right. So the next one is the middle colonies, and the middle ones are once again the ones in the middle.
This one is known for having New York, so it's the Big Apple. That's now.
Yes.
Now tell me
it
about
had
that.
New York back then too. New
But
York
was
was a
it
pretty
known
big
to be
city.
amazing?
It wasn't really known to be amazing. It was kind of in the middle. So it had a little bit bigger farms where they grew lots of wheat and grain to feed the southern colonies, because the southern colonies,
Oh, really?
as we'll learn, weren't making. They were not making food. Instead, they were growing cash crops, which we'll talk about in a second. But these farms were bigger than New England. They were growing grains and wheat to try to feed these southern colonies. Yeah. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the
I didn't
last
realize
group.
that. I actually thought that the southern colonies made all the food.
No, the southern colonies are the richest, as you said, the richest colonies. But but the way they got rich is by these cash crops. And cash crops are something you grow and you sell to make money, so you can't eat them. So these were things like tobacco, indigo, which is used to dye clothing, and then
And
eventually
that came
cotton.
from Antigua. Didn't indigo, the seed, come from Antigua? I read
I'm not
that.
sure about that, but that would be cool. That's interesting, yeah. They would use slave labor on these plantations, so slave
That is
labor
not
was
good.
huge, yeah. And once again, the original people who came to the southern colonies were these single men who were looking to get really rich. There were very few women that came. It was kind of like when the colonies you went to make the big bucks. And they would grow these cash crops, kind of like in Suriname, how there was sugar, except they grew usually tobacco, indigo, in their plantations in the south.
It's not good about the slave labor,
Yeah,
though.
the slave labor is bad, and we'll talk more about that in the future. But yeah, those are the three groups. So we have New England, Middle Colonies, and the Southern Colonies.
That brings to Mrs. Magera's tea time. Again, green tea with lemon because I make them in big batches, so I haven't finished with this batch yet. But, so you talked about the 13, I know that you know this fact, but I found it very interesting and I found it extremely juicy because I'm like, what the heck? This is like movie status. Do you know where I'm going with this?
No idea.
So there's 13 colonies, but there was actually a 14th colony. No? It's called the Lost Colony.
Oh no, this isn't one of the 14, but that's okay.
It's not?
This is one of the first.
It could
attempts
have
to form
been. It could have been.
it. But it's where Virginia is currently.
Could have. Oh, well, that's lame. Anyway, so it's still juicy though. So they created this colony, and it's South Carolina.
Okay, well, it's where South Carolina
Okay, it's
is.
South Carolina.
I know South
but
Carolina.
that was that an original colony?
South Carolina, yes.
Okay. Anyhow, you're messing with Mrs. Magera's tea. So there was a lost colony. They went, and this guy went. I had his name, but I don't know where it is. Anyway, and fact check. This is the History Channel. So they went to this place and they settled a colony. But when the guy went back, man, I had the guy's name.
It all disappeared.
3 years later, the guy went to go check on it. But it was so sad because he left his pregnant daughter there. Like, there was 110 people in this colony, and he goes back, but there's no trace of anything. Because they had settled cabins, livestock, like a ton. There was not even the cabins there. It was completely gone, and the only thing they could find was this one tree. On it was carved the word
Croatan, right?
Croatan. They don't even know what that means. They're like, what does Croatan mean? So, yeah, isn't that nuts? They go and settle it, but how sad. The guy going up there thinking he's going to meet his grandkid who's like 2 years old and then doesn't find anyone. But you told me, what do you think happened to them? They don't know.
They think they went to there's lots of people think they went to the natives because they've studied their genes and noticed some of the natives down there have similar genes to the, yeah.
Well, I think that's crazy that they like don't know. Even after all this time, they don't know what happened to them. So anyway, that's the tea.